Good morning to one and all gathered here on this historical site of Old Goa to celebrate dialogue, fraternity, and unity that we all have. We all cherish, regardless of our diversity, for a better humanity.
We all belong to one ancestral father and mother. We all are children of Adam and Eve, peace be upon them. We are progeny of one single man and one single woman on this earth. Hence, we all are extended family. This entire human race is the extended family. We are brothers and sisters, originated from one single man and one single woman.
The message that I would like to convey today is a very basic one. Something which was taught in school when I was just 6 years old and enunciated by every religion across the world and has tremendous relevance in what is happening in our country, in most of the others too. We were taught a subject called community living. Every day the teacher started the class with the question, "Children, what is community living?" And all of us who had understood our lessons very well at the age of 6 would answer in a chorus, "Community living is to live happily with others." I repeat, community living is to live happily with others.
An Afro-American was standing outside the church in the southern state of US. It was many years ago, and the church was meant for whites only. The man was looking very sad and disappointed when God appeared to him and asked him why he was looking sad. The man said, "Because of the proximity of the church to my house, I like standing outside the church. I love the singing. I love the choir. I like the service that goes on. And for the last 20 minutes, I've been wondering how to enter this church because I'm a black and this church is for whites only." God then told him, "That's not surprising. You've been waiting here for last 20 minutes, wondering how to enter this church. I've been waiting here for last 20 years, also wondering how to enter this church." Friends, there was singing, there was devotion, there was religiosity, but there was no spirituality. Religion focuses sometimes on externals, like a house of worship, rituals, and observances. And it is all external sometimes, and the approach is many times exclusive and isolates those who may not share the same views and beliefs, while spirituality makes no such distinction. Instead, it focuses on a very inclusive approach where no one is left out, all are welcome in God's eyes. For many of us, religion is about conformity, not morality. Conformity is doing what you are told, regardless of what is right. And morality is doing what is right, regardless of what you are told. A house of God must be a place where God and humanity meet and encounter each other. God does not dwell in physical structures made of stones and human hands, but rather in the hearts of human people. Acts of the Apostles chapter 17 verse 24 says, "God who made the world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth and does not live in man-made temples." We are reminded throughout the scriptures that the dwelling place of God is His people, yet we fail to see God in others. All religions share a common basis in morality. At their core, they are essentially the same and accept the same precept of loving others. Yet, the truth is that people have often failed to follow what their religion teaches, and these failings are invariably the cause of religious violence, war, and atrocities. Judaism and Hinduism have existed for over 4,000 years. Buddhism has existed for over 2500 years, Christianity for over 2000 years, and Islam for over 1600 years. Yet why is there so much of wickedness and hatred in the world today? One would think that with all these religions going around for so many years, people would have already learned not to go to war, not to commit crimes, not to hate, but just be kind to one another. But no, that's not the case. In fact, it seems reverse now. The big question we need to ask ourselves is, if God does not discriminate between us, why do we discriminate in the name of God? We call ourselves the generation of the 21st century and claim to live in the first world, yet behave like monsters, showing no respect and dignity for fellow being. Friends, if the world suffers today, it's basically because of three reasons: an inflated sense of self, a deflated sense of God, and a deteriorated sense of values. And sadly, all these three fundamental flaws are the violation of basic religious teachings of seeing God in others. I want to quickly reflect on a passage taken from 1 John 4 verse 20. If someone says he loves God and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he cannot love God who he cannot see if he does not love his brother whom he has seen. The first part of the passage lays emphasis on the need for fraternity among people and nations for unity. To create a peaceful and a tolerant world, we need to ask ourselves, who is my brother or who is my neighbor? The answer is plain and simple. Everyone is our brother and everyone is our neighbor. Even that person we consider to be our enemy, and especially those whom our society thinks as less than. To call someone a neighbor is to place them on an equal footing, to see them and to see full humanity. The passage then highlights the paradox of loving God and hating a brother. While most of us would agree that it is wrong to hate someone, yet we need to remember that it is also wrong to be indifferent. Indifference is a camouflage form of hatred, and we are all guilty of it. A child dies of hunger every 10 seconds in the world. Poor nutrition and hunger are responsible for over 3.1 million deaths every year. 1 in 9 people go to bed hungry. Aren't these hungry people our brothers? Aren't we guilty of being indifferent to the starving children? Our Indian constitution teaches us tolerance. Our philosophy teaches us tolerance. Our constitution speaks of tolerance. We cannot dilute it. Regrettably, over the years, tolerance has been gradually replaced by rising menace of intolerance. Religiously motivated killings, assaults, lynching, vandalism have become and started showing its ugly face. Intolerance stems from the invincible assumption of the infallibility of one's belief and the dogmatic conviction about their correctness. It comes from an attitude that I am holier than thou, my God is bigger than your God, and my religion is the only religion. Aren't we guilty to religious hatred or intolerance that surrounds us today? Or aren't we just indifferent simply because it doesn't affect me? The Bible teaches us anything short of total forgiveness and love towards another might as well be translated as hatred, and hatred might as well be murder. Man has forgotten that God is one, and his only expectation from creation is love and sacrifice for one's fellow creatures. Those who love their fellow beings love God best. He does not wish us to worship him as an idol. He expects us to be rational, and rationality demands goodwill to all fellow beings, irrespective of our caste, our color, or our creed. Friends, all apparent religious differences are man-made and are the result of narrowness and bigotry. All religions have one common message for the entire world. The message is of universal love. No one indeed can prove his love for God unless he knows how to love his fellow beings. Real love must lead you to do good, to get your hands dirty with works of love. Remember, the hands that serve are holier than the lips that pray. To create a peaceful and a tolerant world, we need to understand and appreciate each other's differences. Why do people of different religions seem to hate each other so much? Perhaps because they are simply ignorant of how much they have in common. Intolerance is a result of ignorance, and such ignorance are often passed down from one generation when people in position of authority, like parents, like teachers, remain ignorant. Ignorance often leads to fear, and fear can lead to hate, and hate can lead to violence. They are not aware that all religions share the same basic idea. Like all attitudes, tolerance is often taught in subtle ways. Even before they can speak, children closely watch and imitate their parents. Kids of all ages develop their own values, in great part by mirroring the values and attitudes of those who they care about. It is often noted that teaching tolerance has to begin at home, with our parents, and at school through us teachers. As parents and teachers, we need to watch our words in our homes and in our classrooms. Do not say anything that may be constituted as intolerant, hurtful, misinformed about some other religion or a religious group. Emphasis should be laid on inculcating values of kindness, compassion, patience, and humanity. There is also a need to secure our own understanding of other religions and faiths before we attempt to teach our children at home and schools. And finally, learn together about religious celebrations that are not part of your own tradition. Friends, regardless of our religion, we must be humans first. Life is all about living and serving humanity. No religion can ever be above humanity. Remember, those who cannot see God in all will never see God at all.